Teenage Theater.
Right now, it's showtime in Teensville, USA. And if you're looking for hot flicks, slick chicks, and sick kicks, you've come to the right pad, Dad. Why, we've got the greatest, the greasiest, man, the ginchiest lineup of mean teen movies ever made.
Naughty nymphs in 90s. Teenage Theater. Teenage Theater. Teenage Theater. Teenage Theater. Teenage Theater. Blitzed out biker bands. Slick chicks in chains. Hell-raising head-cats. Devil dolls and crunched out rock and rollers, pill-popping punks, motorcycle man, starlets starved for sex, teenage thrill kittens, dipstick daddy-os, burned out beach bunnies, jailbait broads in bondage, drag racing days, naughty nymphs in 90s.
So cop some space, Ace, kick back your heels, and get ready for some righteous reels. Yes, it's time to blast off with Teenage Theater.
Teenage Theater. Teenage Theater. Teenage Theater. Teenage Theater. Blitzed out biker bands. Slick chicks in chains. Hell-raising head-cats. Devil dolls and drags. Crunched out rock and rollers. Pill-popping punks. Motorcycle man. Starlets starved for sex. Teenage thrill kittens.
Hey there! Welcome to the club, bub. Come on in and join me for another edition of Teenage Theater. Tonight's slick flick is just chock full of quick chicks, daredevil drag races, high school cool cats, tormented teens, and everything else that made the 50s so Phillipsville. This little opus is called High School Caesar, starring that B-movie Romeo John Ashley, who also starred in Hot Rock Gang, Frankenstein's Daughter, and all those blister-bopping beach party bashes. Today, John is producing shows like The A-Team. Anyway, let's cut out the chatter and roll the film that matters. High School Caesar. Well, I doubt if that grubby little goon ever graduated to Godfather. Too bad this movie wasn't a bigger hit, or maybe I'd have starred in the follow-up College Cleopatra. I could have shown that two-bit bozo what a real racket is. Well, I guess it's time to hail my own little Caesar and ride this chariot off into the sunset. And believe me, it's going to be a long time before this empire falls, dolls. Good night for now. Good evening once again, grease monkeys and thrill junkies. I'm Mamie Van Doren, and tonight we're going to get real low down and dirty in one of the toughest little pics ever to crawl across the screen. Teenage Devil Dolls. It was made back in the early 1950s when the world was kind of in the gray zone, like heavy-dutiesville, if you know what I mean. Now dig. This innocent little high school sweetheart, Cassandra, is just trying to make the scene with the local gang. She takes one toke of a reefer, and the next thing you know, she's mainlining enough hard stuff to addict the entire city of Cleveland. All they have to do is show 5 minutes of this slick flick, and you'd be afraid even to pop an aspirin. So keep your handcuffs handy, spread eagle against that wall, and see if you can remain silent for the next hour or so. Here's your one-way ticket to hell, Teenage Devil Dolls. Well, looks like Cassandra caught the last train to Squaresville. Nothing like a happy ending, right? I mean, I don't even think they changed the names to protect the innocent in this one. Too bad they couldn't just say no. I don't know why they couldn't get their kicks the all-American way. You know, apple pies, fries. And guys, like Dreamsville, Daddy-O. Hey, what's the haps, chaps? Well, you just hit Jackpot City with another edition of Teenage Theater. I'm Mamie Van Doren, and tonight you're going to rock your socks and bop till you drop with a truly rare jiving gem called Carnival Rock. Now, this righteous set of reels was directed by the king of cult, the emperor of exploitation himself, Rockin' Roger Corman. Now, in case you aren't familiar with Raj, tell me what kind of Dragsville world this would be without teenage dolls, bucket of blood, the wild angels, and of course the original Little Shop of Horrors, with the first word in nerd, Seymour, and of course the unforgettable Audrey Jr.
Feed me!
All right, hold on to your turntable, Mabel. I guess we're all getting a little hungry here, so let's dish out the main course. It's time for some good old-fashioned all-American rockabilly, rhythm and blues, and red-hot rock and roll. That's right. I'm talking about the one and only, the original Carnival Rock. Like Kicksville, that's what I call entertainment. And if you think that flick was hip, you should check out the poster of this little picture. Dig this ad line. The pent-up fury of today's rock and rollers, hungry for kicks. Well, excuse me, while I release some of my own pent-up fury and blast on out of here. I'll catch you cats later. Hi there, Daddy-O's, and welcome to another edition of the slickest flick fest in the West, Teenage Theater. Come on, cool cats, come a little closer and take a look at this little dream machine. We're talking 56 Seabird. Got all the buttons in the right places. Yeah, nothing could put me in orbit like spinning some tunes on this old bop and beatbox at the local juke joint. And speaking of jiving joints, tonight's little picture's about the jumpiness rock house this side of Hipsville. That is, until the local mob tries to move in and steal the scene. Unfortunately, they have to learn the hard way. You just can't kill rock and roll. The eggheads say this is the only pure and authentic rockabilly movie ever made, shot on location in Dallas back in the 50s, using all the local talent. In other words, this is the genuine item, the real thing. None of that Hollywood gloss to gum up the works. So get hip to this tip, sip on your lip, and get ready to rock, baby, rock it. Hey, the mob gets the weenie and the good guys get to keep on rocking. Just like in real life, right? Man, they just don't make them like that anymore. And I'll bet if you scratched hard enough, you could still find a lot of those cats blasting away in some tank town joint in Texas. I sure hope so, because sometimes you gotta kick off your boots and get back to your roots.
Feed me!
All right. And right now, we're gonna rock on out of here. Good night, everybody. Hi again, it's me, Mamie, back with another shock, rock, and thrill-spilling installment of Teenage Theater. You know, sometimes we take things for granted like a good hot greasy burger or a drooling cool chocolate shake. But just think of the poor kids in tonight's feature, Naked Youth, pining their hearts out in juvenile camp. Because when they bust out and make for Mexico, they learn fast that the south of the border scene can be bad news in a bad way. And we're talking dangerous thugs and dead-end drugs. And as far as the bad dudes in this flick are concerned, killing teenage punks means just another couple pellets in the gas chamber. Wow. No, that's real Gonzville. I prefer my kicks a little more on the cool side, like from right here on a ringside seat. So, let's all just kick back and enjoy the cinematic snackorama, Naked Youth. Looks like Switch finally got a taste of his own blade. I guess next time he'll know better than to cut in on somebody else's action. Speaking of which, it's about time for us to cut out on this scene ourselves. This is Mamie Van Doren for Teenage Theater, saying, don't do the crime, and we'll dig you next time. Howdy hi, all you rock and roll renegades, and welcome back to Teenage Theater, the show that never stops till the last hepcat drops. Tonight, we're gonna wig out on something a little bit different. It's called Teenage Confidential. We're gonna blast through the past all the way back to the 1940s when the cats and chicks bopped to a different beat, back before rock and roll took control, when the Stone Age squares and deadbeat daddy-os still ruled the roost, and real gone guys and gals like us had to cop our kicks the hard way, like Underground Man, if you can dig it. Because we were hopping to the hottest beat of all. I mean like the atom bomb, baby. Woo! And we're going to fly right through the 50s and 60s with the greasiest, the ginchiest scenes from the greatest bop flicks ever made. So cool your jets and keep your high-heel sneakers handy, because this is Teenage Confidential. That's all you're going to get out of me. Well, you gotta admit, that was better than spending the night necking with the National Enquirer. I mean, I never knew there were so many whacked-out weirdos roaming around loose back in those days. I guess I was just too busy bobbing around the big time to notice all that crazy action. Well, anyway, that was Teenage Confidential. And I'm Mamie Van Doren. And this is Goodnight for Now from Teenage Theater. Hi there, all you high school hellcats, and welcome to another edition of Teenage Theater. Tonight's pick is a real trash bash written by steady Eddie Wood. In case you've been living in Squaresville for the past 30 years, Eddie's the dude who made the most legendary golden turkey film of all time, Plan 9 from Outer Space. It was one of those big budget 50s sci-fi flicks that used actual saucers for spaceships. It even starred Bela Lugosi in his last role, right before he bit the big one. Too bad, too, because I was bats over that sucker. And speaking of bats, this Ed Wood dude was kind of Looney Tune himself. Seems he couldn't decide which side of the fence he was on, if you know what I mean. Even made a movie about it called Glenn or Glenda. I Changed My Sex. Well, that's one problem I've never had. And never have the teenage thrill kittens you're about to feast your eyes on in this cool, crazy camp classic, The Violent Years. Wowee! Just think, that baby today is probably all growing up and watching this movie along with the rest of us. That is, if it's all right with Big Daddy-O up in the sky. Well, I hope you've all learned a good lesson from The Violent Years. I mean, I don't know where those crazy chicks learn behavior like that. Why, when I was growing up, I'd never even think about seducing a dude. Unless he looks something like this. Well, I gotta go and see if I can't have some violent years of my own. Now dig this, daddy-os. This is your hot rockin' mama, Mamie Van Doren, here to flip your lid with another edition of Teenage Theater. Tonight's drive-in delight, Wild Guitar. It stars Arch Hall Jr. as a dude from Hicksville who comes to Hollywood to make his fortune as a rock and roll star. Now, I made the scene in flicks with all the 50s rock and roll greats like Jerry Lee Lewis, Paul Anka, and Eddie Cochran, so I can tell you from experience that this Arch Hall hick is really hurting. I mean, he makes Alfred E. Newman look like Elvis Presley. You see, His daddy, Arch Hall Sr., was this producer cat who decided his 16-year-old son was a movie star. So he featured him in all these flicks. I mean, we're talking trash-orama like Egon, Nasty Rabbit, and The Sadist. But hey, if you want to see art films, you go to the museum. But if you dig rock and roll in the raw with a seductive, healthy dose of starlets, bopping beach bunnies and Sin City sleaze, then burn that computer and get back on your scooter, 'cause it's time for Wild Guitar! And I bet you thought Annette and Frankie made the first beach party movie. Well, Arch Hall beat him by 2 years. And after watching Arch's string bean babe in a bathing suit, it's a wonder that they ever made another one. Well, I'm getting ready to have a little beach party of my own here. So until next time, remember my name is Mamie, and don't try to tame me. For Teenage Theater, this is good night.
Teenage Theater.
Teenage theater.